I still remember the crisp morning air of that April 8th, 2025. Fredericksburg, with its picturesque streets and folks who knew each other's names, was about to be turned upside down. My gut was already churning like a washing machine, sensing something was off. My eyes scanned the old Greenwich Circle, taking in the quaint shops and houses, the sound of birds chirping a stark contrast to the unease growing inside me. I'd been patrolling these streets for years, but today felt different. My mind replayed the string of disturbing social media posts from the past week. Kids bragging about their new toys, the cryptic messages about a showdown in the alleys. I pulled up to the corner of Old Greenwich in Maine, my boots crunching on the gravel as I stepped out of the cruiser. The smell of fresh brewed coffee wafted from the cafe, but it did little to calm my nerves. I scanned the rooftops, the trees, and the alleys, my heart pounding in my chest like a jackhammer. That's when I saw them. For kids, all around 16 or 17, huddled in a secluded alleyway. Their eyes were fixed on something in their hands, something that made my gut twist into a knot. They were armed, their AR-15 style rifles gleaming in the morning light. My mind flashed to the training, the scenarios, the worst-case scenarios. I knew I had to act fast, but my legs felt like lead, my voice caught in my throat. What were these kids thinking? What had driven them to this point? My heart's racing like a runaway engine as I recall that fateful evening. The sun's descent, a golden glow that usually brings a sense of peace, now feels like a ticking time bomb. I'm standing on the periphery, my eyes scanning the neighborhood, searching for any sign of trouble. The air's thick with an undercurrent of tension, like a whispered secret only the wind can hear. I remember the chatter, the hushed conversations, the nervous glances exchanged between the teenagers. They're fueled by a toxic mix of adrenaline and recklessness, their actions driven by a twisted desire for notoriety. They want to leave their mark, to etch their names into the annals of history, no matter the cost. I can feel the weight of my duty bearing down on me, the responsibility of protecting these innocent lives. My mind's racing with the possibilities, the what-ifs, the maybes. What if they make a move? What if they hurt someone? The uncertainty's a living, breathing entity, gnawing at my gut like a rat in the walls. As I watch, my eyes locked on the group, I see a glimmer of recognition. One of them, a kid with a hoodie pulled up over his head, looks up and catches my eye. For a fleeting moment, we lock gazes, and I sense a spark of awareness. He knows we're onto them, that we're closing in. The question is, will it be enough to stop them before it's too late? My heart's racing, sweat dripping down my face like a cold rain. I'm standing outside the dispatch center, my eyes locked on the radio as the voice crackles through the speaker. Multiple reports of gunfire in Old Greenwich Circle. Multiple shooters, possible hostage situation. My gut twists, a knot forming in my stomach. I've worked enough years to know this is bad. I glance at my partner, Deputy Jenkins, his face set in a grim expression. We exchange a swift look, both of us thinking the same thing. This is it. This is the nightmare scenario we've trained for, the one we hope never comes. The adrenaline's pumping now, my senses on high alert. I grab my radio, my hand moving with a practiced ease. Dispatch, this is Deputy Thompson. Requesting backup, stat. The voice on the other end is steady, calm, but I hear the underlying tension. Backup en route, Deputy. Stay safe. As I watch, the dispatch center erupts into chaos. Phones ring, radios crackle, and the sound of rushing footsteps echoes through the room. My heart's pounding in my chest, my mind racing. I think back to the training, the drills, the scenarios. This is it. This is the real deal. My eyes flick to the map of Old Greenwich Circle on the wall. I memorize the layout, the streets, the possible escape routes. My mind's a whirlwind of planning, anticipating. I know I have to think like the shooter, anticipate their next move. I turn to Jenkins, his eyes locked on mine. You ready for this? I ask, my voice low and even. He nods, his jaw set. I know he is. We are. The radio crackles again, the voice on the other end urgent. Deputy Thompson, we have multiple reports of civilians hit. Requesting you to secure the area immediately. My gut twists, a cold dread creeping up my spine. It's starting to sink in, this is real. People are hurt. My heart's racing like a runaway engine as I hit the ground behind the dumpster. My eyes locked on the scene unfolding in front of me. Sirens wail in the distance. But here, in the midst of this suburban nightmare, time stands still. The neighbor, Mr. Jenkins, he's a good man, a pillar of this community. I've seen him coach Little League, hand out candy at Halloween. Now, he's armed, his shotgun at the ready. He's got a bead on the suspects, 2 kids, no more than 17. Their faces twisted in a mix of fear and adrenaline. They're firing wildly, their pistols spitting lead, ripping through the air like a deadly dance. Mr. Jenkins takes aim, his trigger finger tense, and I feel a jolt of fear, my mind screaming no, 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 as he pulls the trigger. The shotgun booms, and one of the kids goes down, clutching his leg, screaming in agony. The other kid, he's not backing down, firing again, and again, the sound shattering the air. Mr. Jenkins returns fire, his shotgun bucking in his hands, and I feel the ground shudder beneath me. The suspects, they're panicking now, their plan unraveling like a thread pulled from a sweater. They make a desperate bid to escape, leaving behind a trail of destruction and carnage. Windows shatter, doors splinter, and I'm on my feet, my gun drawn, ready to take them down. The air is thick with the smell of smoke and sweat, and I can taste the metallic tang of fear. My heart's pounding in my chest, my mind racing with the what-ifs. What if Mr. Jenkins gets hurt? What if the kids get away? The world's gone sideways, and I'm the only one standing between chaos and order. My boots crunch on the gravel as I leap into the unmarked SUV, the adrenaline coursing through my veins like liquid fire. The radio crackles to life, dispatch spewing out updates on the manhunt. Multiple agencies en route to Fredericksburg. My gut tightens. This is it. The moment I've been preparing for since the call came in. The suspects, 2 men, possibly armed, possibly desperate. The possibilities swirl in my head like a maelstrom. As we hit the highway, the tires screech, and we're off, sirens blaring, lights flashing like a madman's dance. I'm thinking about the victims, the families, the lives shattered. Was this a calculated act, or a snap decision born out of desperation? My mind is a maze of what-ifs. What if we're too late? What if they're not alone? What if? What if? What if? The SUV lurches to the side, and I'm thrown against the doorframe. My partner, Rachel, shoots me a glance. Stay sharp, we're getting close. I force myself to focus on the road, the landscape blurring together in a green and brown haze. My eyes scan the horizon, searching for any sign of movement. A plume of smoke, a discarded shell casing, anything. I'm thinking about the investigation unfolding like a puzzle, each new piece revealing a darker, more sinister picture. The suspects' motives, their alibis, their secrets. My gut tells me this is more than just a simple case of premeditated violence. There's something deeper, something that makes me wonder if we're chasing the wrong guys. The doubts creep in, but I push them back. We can't afford to second-guess ourselves now. The stakes are too high. We're closing in, the adrenaline in my system spiking like a jackrabbit on steroids. My heart is racing, my senses on high alert. This is it. This is the moment of truth. I remember the day the dust finally settled, the suspects hauled away in handcuffs, and the town breathed a collective sigh of relief. But it was a bittersweet moment, one that came with a steep price. The streets, once filled with the hum of daily life, were now littered with the remnants of chaos, shattered glass, dented cars, and the faint scent of smoke lingering in the air. I walked through the streets, boots crunching on gravel, eyes scanning the faces of the people I'd sworn to protect. They looked worn, weary, like they'd lost a piece of themselves. As I approached the local diner, I saw the owner, Maria, wiping away tears. She'd lost her brother that night, a good kid with a bright future. I remembered the look on her face when she identified his body, her eyes vacant, her voice barely above a whisper. I couldn't help but think of my own family, my wife and kids, who'd been going through a tough time. How would I have coped if I'd lost someone that night? The media was swarming, their cameras and microphones a constant reminder of the world's attention. But I knew the real story wasn't the one they were telling. It was the one that lay beneath the surface, the one that would take time to unravel. As I watched the townspeople gather, trying to make sense of it all, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were just starting to scratch the surface of a much larger truth. A truth that would challenge everything we thought we knew about that fateful night and the people involved. And I knew I was about to be right in the middle of it.